Good afternoon, everybody. So first of all, thank you so much, Sumir, when you were introducing for this generous introduction. When you were saying that, I was actually wondering, is that me? So thanks again. Thanks so much. Once again, very warm good afternoon to all of you. So Sumir has already done the job of introducing me. I don't have anything else to say apart from the fact that I think I am actually also a product of the city. 4 best years of my life I've spent in Chandigarh. And I think some of the best memories of my life are actually from Chandigarh. So it's always a pleasure to be back in the city. And it's an honor and a privilege for me to be a part of this platform, to be amongst this gathering as a TED speaker. Thank you again so much for getting me here and for taking this time out for me. So coming to the topic, the next step. Me and Sumir were having a discussion sometimes earlier this month in terms of what would be a relevant theme for this audience. We kind of bounced a lot of ideas back and forth, didn't quite settle on anything. At the same time, my cousin brother, who's actually in IIM Calcutta, and he was kind of preparing for his summer internships. It's starting from next month sometimes. So he reached out to me, he said, "Bhaiya, kya karna hai? Matlab, kya puchenge interviews mein, kya resume mein likhu, kya karna hai, etc., etc." He's also done his engineering, moved from engineering to MBA straight away, no experiences in between. And that kind of stuck a chord with me. I said, hey, I think that's a topic which can be relevant for this audience. All of you will be going out to corporates in some time from now, in a couple of years, as early as maybe next year, And there is, that's where I can share a lot of perspectives, my own perspective as I transitioned from a student to a corporate, or let's say, my experiences over the last decade or so, having interacted with a lot of students, having worked with them in terms of as they made this transition. I thought that can be a good enough or an interesting topic for me to share some of those perspectives. So that's where we are, the next step. Now, before we get into it, I actually want to set certain ground rules. Okay, I will ask a lot of questions, lots of questions, and I expect to get answers. I'm not saying give me correct answers, just give me answers because I want to understand that none of you guys are sleeping. Okay, over the course of college life, one thing we really learn the art is how to sleep with eyes open. I have done it myself. So I just want to ensure I am not getting fooled. That's why I'll ask questions. Please give me answers. That's all I'm asking. Okay. Can I just have a quick show of hands? How many engineers sitting here? How many MBA students sitting here? How many other graduates sitting here? Almost everybody. Okay, good. So just want to understand, okay, you chose this particular career vocation for you or education vocation for you. Was it on account of what? It was your choice? It was your parents' choice? It was an accident? You don't know. It was an accident, okay. No, it doesn't matter. Trust, I'm being very honest, it doesn't matter. Because at that stage or at that age stage of life, what you do or what you want to do is something has a very strong bearing of what, let's say, the elders in the family have basis their experience. However, as you go forward, okay, your career choices will decide what you will end up with. That's when it's important to understand what you really want to do as you go forward. So, what next? How many of you thought through what next? How many of you want to be an entrepreneur? Can all of you meet me after this talk? You can be my potential future employers, huh? How many of you want to go for further studies? How many of you want to go for a job? Good. After further studies, how many want to do a job? Almost everybody. Good. So essentially, as you move, when let's say your first job outside of campus, outside of college, outside of campus, your first job, you may find it to be very uncomfortable. The learning curves will be very steep. You may find yourself quite unsettled because it involves change. There is a change, right? And with change comes a lot of discomfort. That's why nobody likes change. So let's understand what causes this change or why this change happens. Let's understand that. So what all things change when you move from a campus to a corporate? Let's do a quick exercise. Let's say just think through what does a typical life in a campus or what does a typical day in campus looks like. Just think through, what is expected of you, what you do throughout the day. Just paint a picture in your mind. Now try and paint a picture of what, let's say, a corporate life would be like. What would you do throughout the day? What will you do in the day? What are the expectations from you? You don't have an experience, but probably you can visualize thinking, looking at, let's say, your elders in the family, your parents, your elder siblings who are actually working, maybe your seniors, whatever you have read through, just try and paint a picture. Do both the pictures match? They match? Excellent, you already cracked the code, good. Does it match for everybody? No, it doesn't match. So let's understand why this mismatches. Let's spend some time just to understand that, maybe next couple of minutes to understand that piece. I'm not sure how many of you can see the slide, I'll just read it out. So essentially what's happening? From paying to learn, you are actually moving from being paid to perform, right? Right now you're actually paying to learn things. It's an investment you are making in your education to learn stuff. From there, you're moving to a place where you'll be paid to perform, where somebody else is making the investment in you to get returns out, right? So there's a change in context. The context changes. Same thing, context changes completely. Like for example, let's take things like, okay, time. The concept of time is extremely fluid. You have to submit an assignment by 15 September. Even if you push it by 11:59 p.m., you have met the deadline, right? You have submitted on 15 September, 11:59, it's submitted. You'll get a grading basis whatever is the quality of assignment. 9 o'clock class, 8:50 you get up, somehow scamper, reach the class, just make it somehow, mark your attendance, it's done. Time is very fluid. Assignment due tomorrow essentially translates to I will do it tomorrow. That's time. That's time is that fluid. However, you move to a corporate environment, the fluidity goes away. I'm not saying it completely vanishes, but there is more accountability, individual accountability of the time, of the deliverables expected of you. There's the much more accountability which is there. Similarly, let's take, say, group assignments or teamwork. How does it happen? There's a group assignment, group of 5. 4 people take distribute the work. 1 takes the job of collating all that work together. So on the due date, everybody submits. The person just collates, pushes it forward. Sometimes you do the due diligence of checking whether the 4 people who have submitted, have they submitted what they were supposed to submit? Have they submitted in the same font? Have they submitted the same slide background? Or is it some multicolored slides going around? Some do that, some don't even do the due diligence. In a office setup or office projects, you have to have larger accountability of the individual deliverables. It's not just, I have given my job, I have done my job, and job is over. Till the entire project is complete, the accountability still stays there. So missing deadlines is actually not considered good. And you have to work with the same set of colleagues even if you don't like them on the same project. Class assignments I don't like, I'll form some other group. Can you do that in office? You can't say that, no, I don't want to work with this colleague. I'll find some other team. That doesn't happen. Similarly, the reward for results versus reward for hard work. My individual efforts decide where do I end up in the class. I put in 10 hours of work, probably get 80% marks in assessments. Put in 15 hours, I get 90% marks, or whatever it is. It's a linear gradation. It consists dependent on the amount of work that I am putting in. Organizations, not necessarily, it's not a linear correlation. Okay, I do not unilaterally control the outcomes or the desired result that I want because the dependencies are huge. Number of stakeholders are many. You have put in more than 100%, probably still has not seen the light of the day because somewhere else the dependency was there and didn't happen. So it's not a linear correlation which happens, which again is a slight disconnect which happens. Similarly, there has to be a lot of focus on process control. There has to be consistency in the work ethic. I can't be doing a Control-C, Control-V on everything that I want. I can't be just scampering through Google and pull out whatever reports which are available and putting some theoretical-based presentation. There has to be much more a hands-on, data-based analysis which has to happen, and that requires more consistent work ethic. So these are some of the subtle changes which you see, which happens as you shift. Okay, and these are things which I've seen in my own experiences where people kind of find that dissonance or disconnect as they come in first couple of years when they come in from college to campus. So why do companies even hire from campus when they have to kind of help them in all these things? Okay, this typically looks like a group project. How many of you can resonate with this? Why companies prefer to actually hire college students? Because of the sheer energy what you guys bring to the table. The amount of energy, the amount of passion, the fire in the belly, not acidity, the fire in the belly that you guys bring to the table. The fresh thinking which comes in, the ability to kind of challenge the status quo, question things, because you're seeing things from a very different perspective. You're asking why it is happening a certain way, why not a different way. You challenge the status quo. You bring in a different point of view. This generation, there's a complete disregard for hierarchy, and that's what actually organizations want. You are not a bigger person just by virtue of the number of stripes you have on the shoulder. You are a bigger person by virtue of what you bring to the table. Comfort with technology. Organizations, all the business models are getting disrupted on account of the tech which is intercepting in the lives. That comfort with technology is what is going to be a key driver with the workforce which is coming into jobs tomorrow. So let's take the simile of, let's say, a traditional Indian marriage. Family arranges for the boy and girl to meet, they get married, girl comes to the family. What happens? Girl, she has no clue of what she's expected to do, right? What are the right things to say? What are the right, what is the right dresses to wear? What are the right scenarios to handle? Same thing. Family has no clue as to, what should we impose on her? What should we tell her? Should we induct her into the, the ways of household from day one? Let her gradually understand. Both make efforts towards each in terms of, building that bridge, and that's how they get into a symbiotic relationship. No different between the students who are coming from the college and the companies. It's never a one-way traffic. It's not that only the students have to make the efforts. Companies at the same time ensure that the young blood which is coming into the organizations, they actually get inducted properly. They get to understand the organization, and so that they can start becoming productive. It's always a two-way traffic, and that's how this ecosystem kind of exists. So how can we fast-track this understanding, or how can we fast-track the settling into this particular ecosystem? These are some of the, I'm not saying this is the final list. These are purely my perspectives, basis my experience, my understanding of working in the industry for a decade. Most important is get a mentor. You should identify and figure out a mentor for yourself. Should not be your boss. Should be somebody who is neutral, who's a neutral stakeholder, has spent some time in the organization to understand how does the organization functions. Okay, the mentor can really help you in kind of navigating the organization, understanding the unspoken, unsaid commandments of that organization, and can really help you in guiding through some of the complicated situations as you kind of work your way through the organization. Should get a mentor, definitely. Most of the organizations actually have structured a mentor and mentorship programs which happen. If it's not there in the organization which you are deciding to join, look for a mentor yourself. You don't call it a mentor, call it whatever, but then purpose is the same. Stay uncomfortable. First 5 to 7 years of your career, always try to keep moving out of your comfort zone. Learning happens maximum when you are on the edge. When you're in your comfort zone, you tend to become complacent. You will stop learning. It's like, how many of you follow cricket or watch cricket? Very less numbers, I'm surprised. Okay. Okay, look at it, let's take a one-day match, 50-over match. The first 10 overs has to be handled differently, or the power play overs have to be handled differently than the next middle overs and the last slog overs, right? The strategy has to be different. Think of your career, next 30, 35 years once you join, or if you want to work that long, whatever. Similar to that. First 5 to 7 years have to be handled differently than the remaining part of the life. Okay. First 5, 7 years, experiment as much as you can. Try as many different roles that you can. Try and get as many learnings that you can. That's what will set the tone of how your rest of the career is going to shape up. Okay. Do whatever, but dirty your hands. Never do a superficial learning. Just dirty your hands, get into the depth of things, realize the value of it as you start managing teams. If the guy comes to you and says, "Ye nahi hoga," you can actually tell him, "I'll let you do. I'll show you how it is done." So dirty your hands. Never do things superficially, and stay out of the comfort zone. My first boss, actually, I was really lucky to have a very good boss who helped me understand the value of staying out of comfort zone. My first job out of campus, I was a rookie youngster, full of energy. My first assignment I was handling was actually doing a lot of workforce automations, a lot of manual processes we were automating there. So as part of a regular one-on-ones that I used to have, on the first third or fourth month, He asked me, so you settled, how you're doing, etc., and all that. So I told him that I literally cribbed that nobody wants to listen to me. The IT team does not want to help me with right vendors who can do the automation or who can actually get this automation done. I have to sit and literally write the whole code myself. The stakeholders who will be using the automation, they're not interested. They're thinking that this will end up, they're losing their jobs and stuff. They're not supporting at all. Nobody's helping me out. I don't know what kind of mess is this and all that. Literally cribbed like anything. He said, don't worry. Just continue to work on it. Give it time. After another 5-6 months, we had the same conversation. He said, so how are you now? I said, it's better, much better. The product, the platform is in place. The teams have started cooperating because they've realized that how the efficiency is increasing for them. They're able to manage their workloads much better and stuff. So it's better. We should be able to get this thing up and running soon. Another couple of months, he said, how are you? Are you settled now fully? I said, absolutely on top of the things. The phase 1 has already gone live. It's really brought in these many savings, etc., to the organization. We are now working on the prototype for the phase 2, completely on top of things. He said, so you're fully comfortable? I said, absolutely. I can get this whole thing running in the next 3 months itself. He said, time to pack your bags. You're moving to your next assignment. I said, why? Right now, when I think I can really deliver, I'm really comfortable, I can get things done fast, you're saying move. He says, doesn't matter. You've set the process. Somebody else will come and can get the same things done equally. Time for you to move on to your next assignment. I got parked into a place called Ankleshwar, western coast of the country, chemical manufacturing belt. 10 years back, one of the worst places that you can be in the country. But trust me, the biggest learnings came. So we had actually acquired a factory there. I moved in there as the head of HR for that particular factory. Some of the best learnings happened there. But the same cycle continued. So my initial 3-4 assignments, every time I became comfortable, I took up another thing. Actually, my boss forced me to take up another thing. That really, helped me shaping my career in terms of you put me in any situation today, it doesn't fluster me anymore. So it's that being on that edge, which really, really helps you in maximizing your learning. So always try and stay out of a comfort zone first 5 to 7 years of your life. Stay fit. Stay fit mentally as well as physically. I'm not the right example of actually stating this, but I learned the hard way. First couple of years of my life, I completely neglected my health as soon as I joined a company. I neglected my health. I put in extremely long hours trying to make a mark, trying to do, all things to, which can really, really say that, wow, he's a fabulous management trainee that we hired. But over a period of time, you will see that your productivity will start coming down. You will start getting mentally fatigued much faster. Always take out time, no matter what, take out time to exercise, meditate, whatever. But take out time to focus on your physical and your mental health. Okay. Have your bucket list. Never lose sight of it. Have a bucket list, paste it on your workstation, paste it on your bedroom, but have a bucket list. Keep looking at that bucket list, keep revisiting it. If you're thinking that you're not able to tick any item on that bucket list, still paste it there. It'll make you feel guilty. It'll push you towards doing it. Okay. Don't let work subsume your entire life. You should have a bucket list. Last one is something which I would urge each of you to start thinking about it as to what's your personal brand. What does, let's say, okay, if I take my example, what does brand Manav stands for? I go and ask this question to, let's say, some stakeholders of mine. I don't get if they say Manav who, it's something for me to worry about. I'm okay, or it's okay if they have a different perception of me than what I want, or if it's not what I expect it to be. But at least I know where the gap is, what needs to be done. The moment it becomes Manav who, that's the time when you have to start literally introspecting. What's your personal brand? What do you want it to be? How do you position it to your stakeholders? That's the most important part. How do you really do the positioning of your personal brand to the stakeholders? Once you have decided that this is an organization I want to spend time, this is an organization I want to kind of make a career with, start thinking about what's the personal brand, how do you do the positioning of that brand. Some most innovative ideas fail on account of wrong positioning. You own your career. Your boss does not own your career. Your company does not own your career. You decide the career choices that you make, and you need to be accountable for those choices. Seek as much counsel as you want, but make the choice, because you will be living or the outcome of that particular choice. It's okay to change jobs in the beginning. It's not a cardinal sin to say that, hey, I left my first job in 6 months. It's fine, you didn't like it, that's perfectly all right, there's no issue in that. The HR guy who came to the college did a fabulous job of selling, making a good sales pitch to you. You have bought the sales pitch. That's okay. If you think that's not what you associate with, it's fine to change. Nothing, no issues with that. Don't make that a habit. Not in the initial parts of a career. Don't make that a habit. Don't jump for money. Jump for something you really want to enjoy doing. Okay. At least initial part of a career, pick up things that you really want to do. You enjoy doing it. Money will start flowing in. You do it the other way around, you will realize the repercussions yourself. Get a macro picture. Talk to as many big people that you can. There, you will find them to be extremely humble. You'll get a lot of perspectives, a lot of insight. Why is it important to get a macro picture? I'll just decode this for you. All of these guys standing and cribbing and saying, hey, the line is not moving, etc. I'm standing here for the last 15 minutes, line is not moving. Everybody is focused on the here and now. Somebody who's standing behind, it's a Beetle Bailey strip. Somebody who's just standing a little far, he said, who started this line? It's a circle. It'll never move in the first place. It'll never move. You keep standing there whole day, it'll never move. It's a circle. It's actually moving, but you don't realize it. So get a macro picture. It helps you in putting into perspective where you're headed, what you're doing. So as parting thoughts, okay, I just want to share some home truths. Visualize again. Let's say take 2 glasses of boiling water, put an egg in one, put a coffee bean in other. One gets cynically hardened, other injects the entire surroundings with its aroma, color, flavor, etc. You decide, or you own your career choices. Nobody does that for you. You decide which one you want to be. Okay. It's good to be ambitious. You should be ambitious. There will be office issues. There will be office politics. We live in real world after all. What is important is, as you go through life, as you handle these issues, as you work with employees, as you work with people, you need to look at that whether are you battling something or do you look at it as if I'm building something. You can do it either ways. I think it's a really good idea and it's a good perspective to look at whatever you're doing as if you're building it. It can be building relationships. It can be building a new process. Let life be a series of building something blocks. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate being here.